Now we come to the next chapter. This chapter of the tools, Dukkha Nipata. 2.1 Dukkha Vihara Sutta. Monks, possessed of two things, a monk lives in discomfort here and now, or suffering, bringing upon himself vexation, trouble and distress. And when the body perishes after death, a bad born is to be expected. What are the two? Being unguarded regarding the doors of the senses, and being immoderate in eating. These are the two things, possessed of which a monk lives in discomfort, here and now, bring upon himself vexation, trouble and distress. And when the body perishes after death, a bad born is to be expected. The eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and likewise the mind. A monk who leaves these doors unguarded here, immoderate in eating, of uncontrolled senses, experiences suffering both bodily and mental, being tormented by body and tormented by mind. Such a one lives in discomfort both by day and by night. For a monk, these two are important, to always guard the doors of the senses and to be moderate in eating. So it's a good thing we don't have dinner. 2.2 Sukha Vihara Sutta. Monks, possessed of two things, a monk lives in comfort here and now, not bringing upon himself vexation, trouble and distress. And when the body perishes after death, a good born is to be expected. What are the two? Being guarded regarding the doors of the senses and being moderate in eating. These are the two. The eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and likewise the mind. A monk who has these doors well guarded here, moderate in eating, of controlled senses, experiences happiness, both bodily and mental, not tormented by mind, not tormented by body, nor tormented by mind. Such a one lives in comfort both by day and by night. If we guard the doors of the senses, the Buddha says, when we see or hear or smell, taste and touch, or think, then we don't pay too much attention to the main features and the minor details. If you pay too much attention, then you start to discriminate. This is beautiful, this is ugly, this is nice, this is repulsive and all these things. And then the train of thought starts. And then greed can arise. Avariciousness and grief. You are greedy for something, and then if you can't get it, then grief will arise. 2.3 Tapaniya Sutta. There are two things, monks, causing remorse. What are the two? Here someone has not done what is good, not done what is wholesome, not done what is beneficial, but has done evil, careless, wrongful deeds. He is remorseful on thinking, I have not done good, and is remorseful on thinking, I have done evil. These monks are the two things causing remorse. Having performed misconduct by body, misconduct by speech, misconduct by mind, and whatever else is reckoned a fault, not having done a good deed, and done much that is bad, when his body perishes, that foolish one is reborn in hell. One thing we notice, a lot of people on their deathbed, they are very remorseful because of these two things. What is good, they had the chance to do, they did not do. For example, duty towards the parents, duty towards the family, etc. And then what was not good, they did. Broke the precepts and harm others because of greed, hatred and delusion. So most people, they regret very much on their deathbed. 2.4 Attapaniya Sutta. There are two things, monks, causing no remorse. What are the two? Here someone has done what is good, done what is wholesome, done what is beneficial, and has not done evil, careless, wrongful deeds. He is not remorseful on thinking, I have done good, and is not remorseful on thinking, I have done no evil. These monks are the two things causing no remorse, having abandoned misconduct by body, misconduct by speech, misconduct by mind, and whatever else is reckoned a fault, not having done a bad deed and done much that is good. When his body perishes, that wise one is reborn in heaven. Sometimes to do good is very difficult. For example, to practice the holy path, practice the spiritual path. For lay people to devote 1 or 2 hours every day to listen to the Dhamma, to practice meditation, to keep your precepts when you are working, etc. That is difficult. But what is difficult and you do it, and then it's meritorious. What is easy to do and you do, there's very little merit. To give $1 is very easy. When you do dana, people come and collect. Charity, you give one ringgit. That's easy to do. But to give a lot is difficult. But if you think it's a good cause, worthy of your helping, then you are willing to give a lot. That is hard to do, and that is, you'll be happy next time when you think about it. Not only money, in other ways, if you help people, go out of your way, as they see, walk the extra mile for your friend, for your acquaintance or what. So we see what is good is not cheap, what is cheap is not good. So on the other hand, like refraining from doing wrong, sometimes it's difficult to keep the precepts well. It's not easy, because then if you allow the lawyer inside, in your mind, then you say, nobody is keeping the precept so pure. Why should I keep the precept so pure? So, but if you take the trouble to do it, then on your deathbed, you will have no remorse. You will have only happiness. 2.5 Patama Sila Sutta. Possessing two things, monks, a person is placed in hell as if carried there. What are the two things? Bad behavior or evil behavior and wrong view or bad view. This is a bad behavior. Papaka is evil. Papa is evil. Or this one is papakaya, papikaya, wrong view or evil view. These monks are the two things. If a person possesses these two things, bad behavior and wrong view, when his body perishes, that foolish one is reborn in hell. So, bad behavior or evil behavior is harming others. Harming others, that means not keeping your sila, not having moral conduct. And then wrong view is not believing in karma, not believing that there are planes of rebirth, that after death we take rebirth again according to our actions. And the third thing is not believing that there are holy men. So that is worldly wrong view. So people go to a bad rebirth because of these two things. Not keeping the precepts, that means having no moral conduct, and wrong view, not believing in karma vipaka, action and its result. 2.6 Duttiya Sila Sutta. Possessing two things, monks, a person is placed in heaven as if carried there. What are the two things? Good behavior and right view. These are the two things. If a person possesses these two things, good behavior and right view, when his body perishes, that wise one is reborn in heaven. So a person goes to heaven because of these two things. So we ought to take care of these two things. Moral conduct and right view. And right view we can only get when we learn the Dhamma. So we need to learn the Dhamma more, listen to the Dhamma, and keep the Sila, precepts. 2.7 Atapi Sutta. Monks, a person who is without ardor and without fear of wrongdoing, is incapable of attaining enlightenment, incapable of attaining nibbana, incapable of attaining the supreme security from bondage. But a monk who has ardor and a fear of wrongdoing is capable of doing so. One who is not ardent, ardent means diligent, vigorous, energetic effort. One who is not ardent, reckless, lazy and of little vigor, full of lethargy and torpor, shameless and without respect, such a monk cannot attain enlightenment which is supreme. But a mindful and discerning meditator, ardent, scrupulous and diligent, having severed the fetters of birth and decay, can attain for himself right here and now enlightenment which is supreme. So to attain nibbana, energetic effort is very important. The second one is fear of wrongdoing. Always examine yourself whether you are doing anything wrong. 2.8 Patama Nakuhana Sutta. Monks, this holy life is not lived for the sake of deceiving people, for the sake of cajoling people, for the sake of profiting in gain, honor and fame, nor with the idea, let people know me thus. This holy life, monks, is lived for the sake of restraint and abandoning. The Lord taught a holy life not based on tradition, for restraint and abandoning, leading to and merging in Nibbana. This is the path followed by the great, pursued by the lofty sages, those who enter that course, as taught by the enlightened one, heeding the teacher's instruction, will make an end of suffering. So monks wear the robe, should not deceive people, should not cajole, plead with people to do this and do that, not for gains and honor and fame, but it's for the sake of restraining oneself, taming oneself, and letting go. 2.9 Dutiya Nakuhana Sutta. Monks, this holy life is not lived for the sake of deceiving people, for the sake of cajoling people, for the sake of profiting in gain, honor and fame, nor with the idea, let people know me thus. This holy life, monks, is lived for the sake of direct knowledge and full understanding. The Lord taught a holy life not based on tradition, for knowledge and understanding leading to and merging in Nibbana. This is the path followed by the great, pursued by the lofty sages, those who enter that course, as taught by the enlightened one, heeding the teacher's instruction, will make an end of suffering. So, Buddha is saying here, when one wears the robe, it is for the sake of understanding the Dhamma and direct knowledge, if possible, enlightenment. If not, at least an Aryan stage. 2.10 Somanassa Sutta. Monks, possessing two things, a monk lives here and now with much pleasure and happiness, and is properly motivated for the destruction of the asavas. What are the two things? Being moved by a sense of urgency on occasions for urgency, and being moved, making a proper endeavor. These monks are the two things. A wise person should be urgently moved on occasions that make for urgency. As an ardent, discerning monk, he should investigate with wisdom. One living ardent thus, of peaceful conduct, not proud, practicing tranquility of mind, may attain the destruction of suffering. One should have a sense of urgency, that life is very short, life is very uncertain. We don't know any time our life may stop due to so many ways our life can end. And then knowing that life is impermanent, we should strive, make a proper endeavor. Don't be complacent. A lot of people are complacent, and then when death comes, they get a shock. Never thought that death will come so soon. 2.11 Vittaka Sutta. Monks, two thoughts often occur to the Tathagata, the Arahant Sammasambuddha, the thought of security for beings and the thought of solitude. The Tathagata monks is one who delights in and enjoys non-ill will. As the Tathagata delights in and enjoys non-ill will, this thought often occurs to him. By this behavior, I do not oppress anyone, either frail or firm. The Tathagata monks is one who delights in and enjoys solitude. As the Tathagata delights in and enjoys solitude, this thought often occurs to him. What is unwholesome has been abandoned. Therefore, monks, I say, you too must live delighting in and enjoying non-ill will. And as you so live, this thought will often occur to you. By this behavior, we do not oppress anyone, either frail or firm. Monks, you too must live delighting in and enjoying solitude. As you so live, this thought will often occur to you. What is unwholesome? What has not been abandoned? What have we abandoned? Two thoughts occur to him, the Tathagata, the awakened one, who endured what is beyond endurance. Security for beings was the first thought spoken of. Solitude was the second announced. The dispeller of darkness, gone beyond, the great sage who has reached attainment, become a master, freed from asavas, who has crossed over entirely, released by the destruction of craving. That sage bears his final body, and having left behind Mara, I say, he has gone beyond decay. As one standing on a mountain peak might see all round the people down below, so having ascended the Dhamma palace, the vastly wise one, all-seeing, views the people of the world. The sorrowless one views below, those still immersed in sorrow, overwhelmed by birth and decay. So the Buddha, he has no ill will or anger or hatred, and he delights in solitude. Solitude is something you need to get used to. Initially, if you stay alone, you find it's difficult. But after you get used to it, and the mind calms down, then you like to be alone. 2.12 Desana Sutta. There are amongst two successive Dhamma teachings of the Tathagata, Arahant, Sammasambuddha. What are the two? See evil as evil. This is the first Dhamma teaching. Having seen evil as evil, be rid of it, be detached from it, be freed from it. This is the second Dhamma teaching. These monks are the two successive Dhamma teachings of the Tathagata. Regard the ordered words he spoke, the Tathagata, the awakened one, compassionate for all beings, and the two things he proclaimed. See what is evil is one, the other be detached from it. With the mind become detached from evil, you will make an end of suffering. So we must always differentiate the good from the evil, what is wholesome, what is unwholesome, what is skillful, what is not skillful. And then having seen it, then you know how to act. Be detached from evil. 2.13 Vijja Sutta. Ignorance, monks, precedes and leads to unwholesome states, and shamelessness and lack of fear of wrongdoing follow after. Knowledge, monks, precedes and leads to wholesome states, and shame and fear of wrongdoing follow after. Whatever bad bonds there are in this world and hereafter, all are rooted in ignorance, constructed by desire and greed. Since one of evil desires is shameless and disrespectful, from that evil flows forth, and he goes to a state of misery. Thus, by discarding desire and greed, along with ignorance as well, a monk arouses knowledge and abandons all bad bonds. So, because of ignorance of the Dhamma, we do unwholesome actions, and our mind is unwholesome, and because our mind is unwholesome, we are shameless, and we have no fear of wrongdoing. But if we have knowledge of the Dhamma, then our mind becomes a wholesome mind, and because of a wholesome mind, we have a sense of shame, and we fear wrongdoing. So knowledge of the Dhamma is extremely important. 2.14 Panya Parihina Sutta. Monks, those beings are thoroughly deprived who are deprived of noble wisdom. They live in discomfort even here and now, with vexation, trouble and distress. And when the body perishes at death, a bad born is to be expected. Those beings are not deprived who are not deprived of noble wisdom. They live in comfort here and now, without vexation, trouble or distress. And when the body perishes at death, a good born is to be expected. See the world with its devas, destitute of wisdom, established in mentality and materiality, conceiving this to be the truth. Wisdom which leads to penetration is the best thing in the world. By this one completely understands the ending of both birth and being. Devas and human beings hold dear those awakened ones, ever mindful, possessing joyous wisdom, bearing their final bodies. So noble wisdom gives us happiness. You don't have Aryan, noble refers to the Aryan. If you don't have Aryan wisdom, then you suffer here and now and in the future also. And wisdom comes from learning the Dhamma. 2.15 Sukha Dhamma Sutta. Monks, these two bright principles protect the world. What are the two? The sense of shame and fear of wrongdoing. If monks, these two bright principles did not protect the world, there would not be discerned respect for mother or maternal aunt, or maternal uncle's wife, or teacher's wife, or the wives of other honored persons, and the world would have fallen into promiscuity, as with goats, sheep, chickens, pigs, dogs, and jackals. But as these two bright principles protect the world, there is discerned respect for mother, or maternal aunt, or maternal uncle's wife, etc. Those in whom shame and fear of wrong are not consistently found have deviated from the bright root and are led back to birth and death. But those in whom shame and fear of wrong are consistently ever present, peaceful, mature in the holy life, they put an end to renewal of being. So the Buddha says these two things very important. A sense of shame and fear of doing wrong. If these two did not exist, then human beings will become promiscuous, like animals. Animals, they don't consider this is the mother, this is the one. They are entirely promiscuous. So when people don't understand the Dhamma and life is good, sometimes people also become very promiscuous. So in the world, there's a lot of sexual misconduct. 2.16 Ajatta Sutta. There is monks, the unborn, the unbecome, the uncreated, the unconditioned. If monks, there were not the unborn, the unbecome, the uncreated, the unconditioned, no escape would be discerned from what is born, from what is become, from what is created, from what is conditioned. But since there is the unborn, the unbecome, the uncreated, the unconditioned, therefore an escape is discerned from what is born, from what is become, from what is created, from what is conditioned. The born, the become, the produced, the created, the conditioned, the transient, conjoined with decay and death, a nest of disease, perishable, sprung from nutriment and cravings caught, that is not fit to take delight in. The escape from that, the peaceful, beyond reasoning, everlasting, the unborn, the unproduced, the sorrowless state that is void of stain, the cessation of states linked to suffering, the stilling of the condition, that is bliss. So this reminds us of the previous sutta, I think 8.3, and the Udana, where we talk about the unborn, the unbecome, the uncreated, the unconditioned state of Nibbana or Parinibbana. And that is our aim, because whatever is born or become or created or conditioned, it will cease. And because of impermanence there, suffering arises. 2.17 Nibbana Dhatu Sutta. Monks, there are these two Nibbana elements. What are the two? the Nibbana element with residue left, and the Nibbana element with no residue left. What monks is the Nibbana element with residue left? Here a monk is an Arahant, one whose asavas are destroyed, the holy life fulfilled, who has done what had to be done, laid down the burden, attained the goal, destroyed the fetters of being, completely released through final knowledge. However, his 5 sense faculties remain unimpaired, by which he still experiences what is agreeable and disagreeable, and feels pleasure and pain. It is the extinction of attachment, hate, and delusion in him that is called the Nibbana element with residue left. Now what monks is the Nibbana element with no residue left? Here a monk is an Arahant, etc., completely released through final knowledge. For him here in this very life, all that is experienced, not being delighted in, will be extinguished. That, monks, is called the Nibbana element with no residue left. These monks are the 2 Nibbana elements. These 2 Nibbana elements were made known by the seeing one, stable and unattached. One is the element seen here and now, with residue, but with the cord of being destroyed. The other, having no residue for the future, is that wherein all modes of being utterly cease. Having understood the unconditioned state, release in mind, with the cord of being destroyed, they have attained to the Dhamma essence, delighting in the destruction of craving. Those stable ones have abandoned all being. So this Nibbana element with residue left refers to the living Arahant, and with no residue left is the one on passing away. When he passes away, the 5 aggregates are no more. 2.18 Patisalana Sutta. Live enjoying seclusion, monks. Live delighting in seclusion. Engage in practicing inner mental tranquility, not neglecting meditation, possessing insight, and frequenting empty places. If you live enjoying seclusion, monks, etc., and frequenting empty places, one of 2 fruits is to be expected: final knowledge here and now, or there being some residual defilement, the state of non-returning. Those of peaceful mind, discerning, mindful, given to meditation, clearly see things rightly, and long not for sensual pleasures. Those peaceful ones, delighting in diligence, who see fear in negligence, are incapable of falling away and are close to Nibbana. The Buddha himself liked to go into seclusion, so he encourages monks to go into seclusion and meditate. Then he says, if you practice that way, then 2 results are expected, either enlightenment in this lifetime or anagamin, third fruition. Monks, 2.19, next sutta. Sikha Nisangsa Sutta. Monks, live so as to realize the benefits of the training, the attainment of higher wisdom, the essence of release, and the control of mindfulness. Monks, if you live to realize the benefits of the training, etc., one of 2 fruits is to be expected: final knowledge here and now, or there being some residual defilement, the state of non-returning. One who has completed the training, incapable of falling away, attained to the higher wisdom, a seer of the end of birth, that sage bears his final body, and having left behind conceit, he has gone beyond decay, I say. Therefore, ever delighting in meditation, concentrated with ardent energy, seeing the end of birth, O monks, conquer Mara and his host, and go beyond all birth and death. So the benefit of training oneself on the Noble Eightfold Path. 2.20 Jagarya Sutta. Monks, a monk should be vigilant. He should live mindful, clearly comprehending, concentrated, happy and calm, and should know when it is suitable to cultivate those things that are wholesome. Monks, for a monk who is vigilant and living thus, one of 2 fruits is to be expected: final knowledge here and now, or there being some residual defilement, the state of non-returning. You vigilant ones hear this. Wake up, you who are asleep. Vigilance is better than sleep. There is no fear for the vigilant. One who is vigilant and mindful, comprehending and concentrated, joyful and calm in his thoughts, by rightly investigating the Dhamma with unified mind, will in time destroy the darkness of ignorance. Therefore be devoted to vigilance, an ardent, discerning, meditative monk. Having severed the factor of birth and decay, one may here and now attain enlightenment which is supreme. This vigilance is another wakefulness, devoted to wakefulness, Jagarya Nu Yoga. So this is vigilance or wakefulness. So the Buddha wants his monks to be wakeful all the time, not to fall asleep like most people. 2.21 Apayika Sutta. Monks, these two will go to a state of misery, to hell, by not giving up such conduct as this. What two? One who, while no liver of the holy life, pretends to be one who lives the holy life, and one who falsely accuses another who lives the holy life in complete purity of not living it. These two will go to a state of misery, to hell, by not giving up such conduct as this. The false accuser goes to hell, and also one who denies the deed he did. Both these become equal hereafter, persons of base actions in the world beyond. Many impostors wear the yellow robe, though evil-natured and uncontrolled. Because of their evil deeds, those evil ones are born in hell. Far better for him to swallow a fiery hot iron ball than that immoral and uncontrolled he should eat the country's arms. So here, these two, the Buddha says, is very bad karma. One is to wear the monk's robe and pretending to be a monk, but not conducting oneself like a monk, not keeping the precepts, lazy and all that. The other one is to talk bad about a person who practices the holy life. Accuse that person of doing wrong when he does not do wrong. So if that person happens to be an Arya, then the person who slanders him may go to hell. 2.22 Itivuttaka Sutta. Monks, held by two kinds of views, some devas and human beings hold back, and some overreach. Only those with vision see. And how monks do some hold back? Devas and humans enjoy being, delight in being, are satisfied with being. When Dhamma is taught to them for the cessation of being, their minds do not enter into it, or acquire confidence in it, or settle upon it, or become resolved upon it. Thus monks do some hold back. And how monks do some overreach? Now, some are troubled, ashamed and disgusted by this very same being, and they rejoice in the idea of non-being, asserting, inasmuch as this self, good sirs, when the body perishes at death, is annihilated and destroyed and does not exist after death. This is peaceful, this is excellent, this is reality. Thus monks do some overreach. And how monks do those with vision see? Herein a monk sees what has come to be as having come to be. Having seen it thus, he practices the cause for turning away, for dispassion, for the cessation of what has come to be. Thus monks do those with vision see. Having seen what has come to be as having come to be, passing beyond what has come to be, they are released in accordance with truth by exhausting the craving for being. When the monk has fully understood that which has come to be as such, free from craving to be this or that, by the extinction of what has come to be, he comes no more to renewal of being. This too is the meaning of what was said by the Lord. So thus did I hear. That's the end of the chapter 2. So this last sutta, there are some who hold back. That means when they are taught the Dhamma, they don't accept it. They don't want to understand it and practice it. So they hold themselves back from going into the Dhamma. And some overreach. They are ashamed of the body and they they think after death the body will be annihilated and destroyed. But this is wrong view because a person who understands the Dhamma, then he will know that even when he is alive, there is no being. It's just the body that exists. There is no self. There is no core of being. What is called the Atta in Pali. This Atta means something that is permanent, it's unchanging. But everything in the world is changing in a state of flux. So the Buddha says, it's only the consciousness making a big show of the whole world. We see ourselves lifetime after lifetime in samsara. Actually, it's just a play of the mind. No reality exists, no self exists. So these people who overreach, they don't understand that. So they are hoping when they pass away, this self will be annihilated. So that's the end of reading the suttas for tonight. Anything to discuss?
I would like to know the difference between good men and true men.
And true men. Kalyana Mitta and Sappurisa. Kalyana Mitta is a good knowing advisor, a spiritual friend whom you befriend and you take as like a teacher and to guide you. They like to guide you in the Buddha's Dhamma. So like for a monk, it's usually the Acharya, what in Thai we call Achan. So Sappurisa is a Arya, a noble person. So he might be somebody whom you heard of, but you have no contact with. So Sappurisa is just... but if you take the Sappurisa to be your teacher, then that is also your good friend, Kalyana Mitta. He has some confidence, but he cannot know 100% unless he has psychic power. So the Buddha said that when we practice the spiritual path, we wear away our defilements. Okay, so the Buddha says, just like the Buddha's time, the adze. The adze is for planing the wood. Nowadays, of course, everything is electric. But in my younger days, they hold this wooden thing with a sharp blade, and they use two hands. They call it mo pan, so this is planing the wood with the adze. But during the Buddha's time, they use only one hand. They hold the instrument with the sharp metal and they plane the wood, make it smooth. Okay, so the Buddha says this carpenter, he uses the adze. After a long time, he will see his fingerprints embedded in the wood. Then he knows he has worn away the wood. But he doesn't know how much of the wood he worn away each day. Or last year he worn away how much. This year he worn away how much. But after a long time, when his fingerprints are embedded in there, then only he knows he has worn away the wood. So in the same way, a person on the spiritual path, when he attains arahanthood, then he know for sure that he is liberated. But if he attains the first fruit or second fruit or the third fruit, that is partial liberation. And he can guess, he can have the certain confidence. For example, the Buddha says the characteristics of the Sotapanna, the first fruition, is he has unshakable faith in the Buddha, unshakable faith in the Dhamma, unshakable faith in the Sangha, and he has the Aryan Sila. What is the Aryan Sila? The Aryan Sila, if you look at the Noble Eightfold Path, three factors make up the Aryan Sila. That is right speech, right action, and right livelihood. When you examine these three, it's actually 7 precepts. Maybe I haven't finished. So, okay, I no need to go into detail, these 7 precepts. It's basically right action and right speech. Okay. So, the other thing, a person who has attained the first path or the first fruit, he has the Dhamma Chakku, vision of the Dhamma. That means he has seen the Dhamma, he has seen basically the Four Noble Truths. He understands the Four Noble Truths, but not completely. If he understands the Four Noble Truths completely, he will be an Arahant. He has a basic understanding of the Four Noble Truths. But because he has a basic understanding of the Four Noble Truths, his person changes. He's no more interested in worldly things. No more interested in worldly pursuits. So he focuses his attention on the spiritual path. He will spend as much time as he can on learning the Dhamma, either reading the book or listening to the CDs on the suttas, and also meditating, keeping his sila, all that, practice the Noble Eightfold Path. So that is right vision. Also, it is said, Sotapanna, he becomes independent of others in the Buddha's teaching. Now, this is very important, He becomes independent of others in the Buddha's teaching. What does it mean? It means he doesn't need to rely on a teacher. His teacher basically is the Buddha. And the Buddha already stated that after he has passed away, don't think there is no more teacher in the world. The Buddha said, what I have taught, the Dhamma that I have taught and the Vinaya that I have taught, that will be your teacher after I am gone. So you find a lot of people new on the spiritual path. They go all over the world looking for famous teachers. They go to Thailand, they go to Myanmar, they go to Sri Lanka, they go to China, they go to Taiwan, they go to Tibet, and they go to all over the world. But actually, there's no need. The words of the Buddha are still with us, and that is our real teacher. So these are the few characteristics of a Sotapanna. So if you think you have an understanding of the Dhamma, then you see whether you have these few characteristics. If you have, then you can be fairly confident. Okay. Because there are other, for example, Moggallana is a common name. Moggallana is a clan name. Kassapa also is a clan name. So there are many Kassapas, there are many Moggallanas. So because these are special, they are called Maha, the Great. Moggallana the Great. In Thailand, we have this title Maha for monks. And that is given to a monk who has passed a number of years of the Dhamma exam. I think 3 years. The third stage, he knows some Pali. Then he's called Maha. Like Maha Longpo, Mahabua. Oh yes. In Buddhist countries they have. Monks have to study and pass the Buddhist exams. All Buddhist countries have.
Concerning Sotapanna, if a person only has worldwide view, can he be the first thing
Oh no. Worldly right view. If a person has worldly right view, he'll be a virtuous person. And you have virtuous persons in any religion. You have good Christians, you have good Muslims, you have good Hindus and all that. But they don't have the Aryan right view. Aryan right view is knowledge of the Four Noble Truths, Four Aryan Truths. You have worldly right view, you are only a good person in the world, a virtuous person. You still come back I mean, you after death, I probably go to heaven, no? I'll come back as a human being, no? But he will come back again and again. He won't leave the cycle of rebirth. But once you're an Arya, even a Sotapanna, lifetimes left are limited, no? Maximum of 7 lifetimes, no?
Then a true man must be someone that have understanding of the Four Truths.
Oh, definitely.
But not just words.
Oh, he must be an Arya. Must be an Arya. Okay, shall we end here?